New reporting from Mother Jones magazine shows that Donald Trump's longtime money man and CFO, Alan Weisselberg, already in the crosshairs of the Manhattan District Attorney's criminal investigation, also appears to be tied to a separate civil investigation in D.C. The magazine reports that previously unnoticed emails attached to a court filing last year show that Weisselberg is also involved in the Trump inauguration case that's currently being investigated by the Washington, D.C. Attorney General. The crux of that investigation is whether Trump's presidential inaugural committee and the Trump Organization coordinated to use inauguration funds to enrich the Trump family by grossly overpaying for event space at its D.C. hotel. Emails show Weisselberg was called in to oversee the inaugural committee's internal audit after media stories started questioning the huge sums of money raised and where the money could have possibly been spent. Asked why Weisselberg would be involved in the inaugural committee's internal audit, given that he was the CFO of the company allegedly benefiting from the grift, inaugural committee deputy chairman Rick Gates, you'll remember him, replied that Weisselberg was, quote, great with numbers. Of course, Weisselberg's fluency with Trump's finances is now one of the reasons why there's a cloud of nerves hovering over Trump world, since news broke Tuesday that a special grand jury has been convened in the Manhattan DA's criminal investigation. Said one Trump advisor, the fact that they're dealing with a numbers guy who has plain details makes people more nervous. Now, as far as we know, Weisselberg's involvement in the inaugural investigation is not a line of inquiry that's currently being pursued by investigators in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. But he certainly appears to be feeling the squeeze as the main focus of prosecutors' inquiries. Today, Weisselberg's ex-daughter-in-law, who has supplied the DA's office with boxes of documents, told another network that Weisselberg has served her an eviction notice after she's continued to speak out about what she knows.
Has there been any backlash or retribution?
Yes. Yes, Alan Weisselberg is on my lease. Yesterday I was served to leave my apartment within the next 7 days. So it's a threat. It's a threat. There's definitely tax fraud. There's definitely tax evasion. And, you know, I think that there's just a lot of, for the first time, they seem really nervous.
That news today comes as former prosecutors and legal experts tell Politico that Manhattan DA Cy Vance could be considering a criminal charge that says the Trump Organization is a corrupt enterprise under a New York law resembling the federal racketeering statute known as RICO. That New York law, called the Enterprise Corruption Statute and sometimes called Little RICO, can be invoked with proof of as few as 3 crimes involving a business or other enterprise and can carry a prison term of up to 25 years, along with a mandatory minimum of 1 to 3 years. ABC News and CNN have already reported that several witnesses have already been contacted about potentially appearing in front of the new special grand jury, with at least one told to be prepared to testify. One of the people quoted in the Washington Post's Tuesday night scoop about the existence of that special grand jury was Rebecca Roiphe, a former assistant district attorney in Manhattan, who said prosecutors in her former office were unlikely to take this key step without evidence and probable cause to believe that someone committed a crime. Joining me now is Rebecca Roiphe. She's a professor at New York Law School who's previously served as an assistant district attorney in the Manhattan office. Ms. Roiphe, thank you for being with us. We have a lot to sort of pick apart here. First of all, tell me, with the idea of the special grand jury, people being invited to talk to them, and one reportedly being asked to be prepared to testify, that means testify beyond and outside of the grand jury's deliberations.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, this just shows that the investigation has proceeded beyond this early phase when they were just kind of gathering information and sending out subpoenas. There was obviously a grand jury then, but now this grand jury is convened to hear actual evidence from witnesses. And in New York, the grand jury really isn't used in quite the same way as in federal practice. So this stage really indicates that they've moved on and are hopefully thinking about charging somebody at the end of it, which means that they are convinced that they have a criminal case.
What do you make of where that criminal case could be going? We're seeing evidence about Weisselberg. We're seeing that we assume that Weisselberg has been invited to participate in this process, whatever that means. But who's the target? And how are they? How do you think, or how does your experience suggest to you that they're working toward a final goal here?
Right. I mean, it's a dangerous business to try to read tea leaves into this kind of thing, because grand jury practice is so complicated and it's also all secret. So I don't really know. But you're right that the public reporting makes it look as if Weisselberg is at the center of all of this. And it's also makes it seem as if, in statements that Michael Cohen has said, his former lawyer and fixer, have made it seem as if this is the key person who knows everything. He knows where all the bodies are buried. So one possible strategy they could have would be to charge him with a lot, putting a lot of pressure on him to then cooperate and give up, somebody else. And really, there's nobody else that he could be giving up other than Donald Trump.